The Nuvo Toot is described as the perfect next step from the recorder to ultimately playing the flute. But is it the best beginner flute for your child or private teaching studio? Let's find out. Hi, I'm Lance Suzuki. I'm a professional flutist and flute teacher, and today I'm going to be unboxing this Nuvo 2.0 and giving you my impressions about its construction, playability, and sound quality. I will also be evaluating it as a beginner flute to see if it's something that I might want to use in my own private teaching. I got this Nuvo Toot 2.0 for $29.99 on Amazon, and it comes in a variety of color combinations. You can get either a black or a white base, and the silicone keypads come in either pink, blue, or green. I've included links to the various color combinations down in the video description for your reference and easy access, so check that out if you're interested. The Toot 2.0 comes with 2 interchangeable lip plates, including one that they call the Firstnote Lip Plate. It's also totally washable in soap and water, and I think that could be a great feature these days when we're all extra concerned about hygiene. When I first saw this instrument on Amazon, I was intrigued. It's kind of billed as a pre-flute, and I was wondering if it could really work effectively as a beginner flute for a young student. So let's get to the unboxing and find out. Okay, so let's go ahead and open the box. So I guess we have some sort of, looks like neoprene, zip-up case. On the front, there's this very cute little pull-up card that says, "This is my toot." Can you see that? I guess the child could write their name on that. That's kind of fun. So I'm going to unzip it. And as you can see, I got the white model with blue accents. So it's a white plastic body, and there are these silicone keypads and some silicone detail around the head joint. As you can see, it comes with this Firstnote Lip Plate already pre-attached. Okay, also, I have a little instruction manual that has a fingering chart and some just basic instructions about playing your first notes and how to switch out the lip plates. Also in this little carrying case, there's the second lip plate, which looks more like a traditional flute lip plate. And also there's this little doohickey, I guess, I don't know, that you use. I think this is what you use to change the lip plates out. So we're going to try that a little bit later and see how that works. Okay, now for the moment I've been waiting for. I'm going to try and play this Nuvo Toot 2.0. And first off, I'm going to start with the Firstnote Lip Plate attached. And for those of you who are familiar with flute mechanics, you can see that the backside of the embouchure hole is completely open. And we just have this recorder type mouthpiece that is shooting the air in the right direction. So it makes this a pretty much, well, we'll see, foolproof way to get a first sound. Now I looked on the Nuvo website, and the first notes they recommend I play are B, A, G. So I am going to find my fingering chart here. Okay, it fell off the chair. Okay, here we go. Okay, so that sounded like a B, A, and a G. It sounded a lot like a recorder to me, not really flute-like necessarily. All right, well, let's keep going and see how low we can get this toot to go. Okay, So it goes all the way down to a C. And thinking about regular flute, for example, if I'm teaching a young student, getting down to the bottom range, the total bottom of the instrument can be something that's very difficult. Now here on this instrument, and especially with this Firstnote Lip Plate, it's no problem whatsoever. Now I'm going to start back from the B and see if I can go any higher. I don't know. On a lot of the literature I looked at, it said that this instrument either has a range of an octave or an octave and a half. So it might not be able to go much higher. We'll see. I'm going to stop there. That was pretty challenging, but I was able to get up to maybe around a G above the staff. Now, maybe if I were a professional recorder player, I would be able to do that easier. But with this mouthpiece, and since I can't change the direction of the air, I'm not sure that I can do any better than that. So that was the Firstnote Lip Plate. I think it would be really good if someone had never played the flute and if someone were young and we couldn't get them to figure out the mechanics of how to blow the air across the embouchure hole and cut the air and start it spinning. This gives them like super easy results. You could basically have them playing a song in a lesson, I would imagine. Okay, now I'm going to try and remove this Firstnote Lip Plate and replace it with the traditional flute lip plate and see if it makes any difference in the sound. Okay, so we're back. I had to go and find my traditional flute lip plate and also this doohickey. I'm not really sure what it's called, but that's going to help me remove the lip plate. Okay, so I'm looking at the instructions and it says I need the tool and I'm just supposed to be able to push it in and twist. So let's see if that happens. Where do I go in? From the bottom? Okay. Oh, I see. There's this little nubbin here, and I think that's where I'm supposed to insert the tool underneath and then twist, and hopefully it'll click off. Oh, well, that was easy. So that is the Firstnote Lip Plate that came off. And now I'm going to replace it with the traditional flute lip plate. And I think I see a nubbin on this side. So I'm going to try and replace that on the same side that the other one was on. Okay, that snapped right into place. And now you can see it's starting to look a little more flute-like. So I am going to try again the first notes that they recommend, the B, A, G, and see if it sounds any different on this lip plate. Well, I don't know if you can hear the difference, but I certainly can. That is starting to sound a lot more like a flute. Now, I was wondering if I could maybe change the angle of the head joint, but it looks like it's kind of locked into place. So I guess you get what it is, and that's it. No problem. Okay, I'm going to do the same test, and I'm going to go all the way down to the bottom C. Okay, that was pretty easy. Has a pretty clear sound, I would say, for this little plastic tube. I am going to try and go up, wish me luck, and see if I get any better results with this lip plate. Okay, well, I think the A is my top limit, but I was able to get up a little bit higher with a lot more ease using this traditional flute lip plate. And that makes a lot of sense to me because on the Firstnote lip plate, the recorder mouthpiece was only shooting air in one direction, as I told you before, and I wasn't really able to change the direction of the air to go up higher. But here I have a lot more control, and I was able to go up a little bit higher. Okay, on to the final step. And I may not have mentioned it before, but in some of these keypads, not all of them, but in some of them, I'm not sure if you can see that, but there are these little black dots. And what those are actually silicone plugs. There's also one on the back of the thumb. And those you can pop out, I believe. And that helps it to be become a more chromatic instrument so that it can play more notes. This thumb one looks like it's just going to pop out. Okay, there you go. The thumb plug. And the other ones, I'm going to try and use this little tool and see if that, yeah, there we go. That popped out pretty easy, and those rolled onto my floor. I have no idea where they are, but we'll hopefully find them later. So with the plugs out, I wonder if it changes the sound at all. Maybe a little bit. I noticed that the C was a little more in tune. And that actually makes a lot of sense because there was this huge stopper that was maybe kind of plugging the hole a little bit and lowering the pitch. Okay, so now I'm going to look at my fingering chart very carefully and see if I can play chromatically from the B down to the bottom. And let's see how this works. Now, what's very weird to me is that it looks like this fingering chart for the toot is upside down based on what we're used to seeing for regular flute. Now, on regular flute, at the top of the fingering chart, you would have your left hand, and at the bottom would be the right hand. But it seems like in this version, the left hand is on the bottom and the right hand is on top. So I guess you're kind of supposed to be looking at it like this. Okay. All right, so let's see if I can try a semblance of a chromatic descent from that B. Okay. Now, in order to do that, I'm not sure if you noticed, but for those people who are familiar with flute fingerings, I had to do a lot of non-fluty cross fingerings, which I assume are recorder fingerings. So that is something, number one, that doesn't come naturally to me, and I'm not sure how useful that would be for a beginning flutist to be learning these fingerings that are not going to apply to the regular flute. But it does play chromatically, and also I had to use some half holes. I don't know if you noticed that also, but I guess that's why the silicone plugs come off, because sometimes you're supposed to just put your finger on about half the key without covering the hole, and then other times you put it on the whole keypad covering the hole and the whole pad. Let me try it on this note and see if you can see the difference. So first the half hole. Oh, no, that wasn't right. Yeah, okay. So definitely on the website they say that this is a fully chromatic instrument, and I would say for the most part it is, but it doesn't function in the same way that a normal flute would. One of the things I really like about the Nuvo Toot is that it comes with a lot of supporting educational materials, such as sheet music, MP3 backing tracks, and even videos. Now, these are all available for free download on the Nuvo website, and I'll include a link to that in the description as well. Now, I thought it might be fun to try and play along with one of the backing tracks using both lip plates so that you can hear how they both sound. And since it's 2020, and 2020 is the 250th anniversary of Beethoven's birth, I thought that the natural choice would be Ode to Joy. By the way, I'm going to throw up a picture of my recent visit to Beethoven's grave in Vienna last December. And this was an awesome experience and a total side note, but there you go, Beethoven's grave. Okay, on to the music. Quick side note. So that actually took me a good 5 minutes to change out these lip plates just to be able to make this video. And that's because I don't know what happened the first time when it just popped off. That must have been a fluke. This time it was not that easy. And in the end, that plastic doohickey didn't even work. I wasn't able to get it up in there to pop this off. So I ended up using a ballpoint pen, and then it came off eventually, but good to know. Well, what did you think about the sound of the Nuvo 2.0 with the Firstnote Lip Plate and the traditional flute lip plate? Please let me know by leaving a comment below. So there are many pros and cons for this instrument as I see it, and I'm going to lay it out for you. So here are my pros. Number one, the Nuvo Toot is extremely easy to play and get a first sound on. And that's mainly because of this Firstnote Lip Plate, which basically, like I said, makes it foolproof to get that first sound and to play your first note. Secondly, the petite size of the Nuvo 2.0 is great for those younger students who might not have the reach to play a standard flute and who might have to contort their bodies in all weird sorts of ways and develop a lot of tension that we don't like. So for some of those smaller statured students, this might be a great starting option for them. Thirdly, the construction of this instrument is very durable. I didn't even try to wash it, but I have seen a video of that online where you can literally wash it in soap and water and then it still plays just like it did before. So that's awesome. Finally, the student resources for the Nuvo Toot are excellent. And just to remind you of that, those include sheet music, backing track MP3s, and video. And those are all downloadable for free. Now, the cons for the Nuvo Toot 2.0, as I see them, are, number one, the range is very limited. As you saw with the Firstnote Lip Plate, I could barely get a little more than an octave, without a lot of difficulty. And with the traditional flute lip plate, I was able to get about an octave and a half as advertised. Secondly, although the second traditional lip plate is much, much more flute-like, the fingerings on the Nuvo Toot 2.0 actually are more recorder-like. And for the developing student, I think if they had to learn a new set of fingerings just to transfer over to a standard flute, I'm not sure that that is the best approach for them. Although this instrument is really easy to play, I could see how a student getting regular flute lessons could easily outgrow this Nuvo Toot. That being said, at $30, maybe it's not that big of a deal. Although I can't see myself using this in my own private teaching studio, there are a few scenarios that I think this Nuvo Toot 2.0 could be a great educational tool. Firstly, in a music classroom, for example, where the students already have recorder fingerings and are just trying to experiment with a format that's a little more flute-like. This could be great. Secondly, for a parent who might want to introduce their young child to the basics of music on a flute-like instrument. For me, the Toot is a definite contender for this year's gift list for some of my younger nieces and nephews. So what do you think about the Nuvo Toot as a beginner flute? Have you had any other experiences with it that you'd like to share? Are there any other beginner flutes that you'd like me to review? If so, please feel free to leave me a comment below. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, please hit that like button. Also, if you want to see more flute content like this, please consider subscribing to my channel and enabling notifications. Thanks for watching.